Hey y'all, this is Anna Alexander. Welcome back to my basement as I am returning to Queen Charlotte, episode 4, where we have discovered that the madness of King George was present rather early on in his life and in their relationship. I'm still on the fence about George. Apparently we're going to get some more backstory. His side of the tale of his first days being married to Charlotte. I don't know. There's no way. Even if you tried to keep them in separate households, there was no way they were going to keep this from her for very long. And what this is quite uncertain. Is it schizophrenia? Is it just delusions? I don't see any bipolarness, definitely some anxiety, but the anxiety I think comes from trying to hide whatever it is he is dealing with. And that's the thing. Where are they gonna go with this? Because we know he has it long term. No, they're married long term. Where are we going with them? I don't know. I am much more fascinated with the whole Lady Danbury side of things. And now that Lord Danbury is no longer with us, what does she do next? That's what I'm excited to find out. And I'm so glad that you are here with me. So I'm gonna get under the big cozy blanket because fall has set in. And I'm reaching because I am drinking this evening. Pulled out one of my old favorites, the Alfonso cocktail. There's an Alfonso special and an Alfonso cocktail. This one's the cocktail, and it is a wee bit of sugar, Dubonnet, Prosecco, and the orange twist. And yes, I've tried it with and without the orange twist. The orange twist makes this cocktail lovely, you all. So I hope you have your favorite beverage as well. And you remember a full episode watch along is available on Patreon. And let's get to it. Oh, George, how?
If your Majesty prefers to retire, Mr. Reynolds and I are perfectly...
Am I not permitted to watch the king?
It is just not usual.
I confess I still have much to learn about palace procedure. For instance, I just pulled the king out of a hole in the vegetable garden where he was busy discoursing with the sky. Is that usual?
Exactly. Nothing about this is usual.
What has happened to my husband?
Mm-hmm.
There's a strong will, mind of his own. Purpose bred on my farm at Richmond.
He is a beautiful creature, Your Majesty.
Purpose bred.
Excuse me, Your Majesty. It is the Dowager Princess. You are needed at the palace.
Oh, is this when we're getting the backstory?
She insists. I believe she has found you a bride.
The backstory.
I did not expect so much company.
Wow. There's a lot of people in on this decision.
Let us get on with the thing, then.
The thing?
With the thing.
The thing where you enumerate the many meritorious qualities of some chosen noblewoman, and I remind you how uninterested I am in the qualities of noblewomen.
You may place royal revenues under control of the House of Commons.
You interrupted my mother.
Every day you fail to produce an heir, our family's position weakens.
Now I ask, is that all a king is? A royal stud horse trotted out for the chosen mare?
I think so.
Can a king rule in his own way through practical scientific study? Agricultural improvement. Tell me, what would the people prefer?
Maybe now you can,
Bread.
but
Right
not
now,
then.
they have neither. The people need a king. A real king.
Real king.
I will not bore you with her qualities, except for the best one. She is on a ship.
Oh.
A ship.
The betrothal contracts are signed.
She will lose the moon.
The moon.
Storms over the North Sea this season. No lunars, no longitude. No longitude, no bride. She loses the moon and she is lost.
Withdraw. Withdraw!
You heard her.
Not only the moon, Pollux lost. Regulus lost. Pollux lost, Regulus lost. And
I know, those are constellations. Besides the Prime Minister, who else knows about George? So was this wedding not only for what the Dowager had said before, but also for him to appear normal?
We've entertained all your theories and the hideous treatment, and the king remains as before.
Wow, look at all the fellas up in the grandstands there.
It may be time to consider what none of your physicians have dared.
Ooh, who's this fella?
That is treason.
If the king is declared insane, he loses the throne.
Not insane.
Oh.
Merely suffering a disorganization. A disorganization I have devoted my career to curing.
And are people aware of this?
To John Monroe of the Bethlehem Hospital.
You mean Bedlam?
Right.
Unlike my esteemed colleagues, my methods do not require bleeding the patient or stinging him with poisoned beetles.
This is too early for electroshock, right?
Are we to believe this malady can be cured with one's voice?
It depends on the voice. Listen, boy. Remember yourself. You are the King of England. You have thousands prepared to die at a word from you.
Yeah, that's the part that is always me out.
Armies, navies at your command.
Mm-hmm.
You command an entire kingdom.
Mm-hmm. That's gonna help him relieve whatever is going on in him.
You're to marry in a week. Are you fit to marry, George?
I don't think he has a choice. And why doesn't this doctor live on site with George? Because apparently he's the only one to take him out of the moment and redirect the thoughts.
There is a problem.
What have you done now, Brimsley?
Bride is missing.
Oh, and he was shaking then. And nobody was watching the king leave the room and following on his wedding day.
What are you doing?
Oh, okay. Doctor was prepared.
No bride, no wedding.
If your bride is missing, it is your responsibility to remedy that.
Probably for the best. Do I look perfectly right to you?
You are perfectly right.
Wait, no. He is right.
Oh, that was a technique. I would have used something a wee bit different, personally. Not that I'm licensed or anything like that, however.
I am right.
You can
I forgot myself. Thank you,
You
Doctor.
can only slap him so many times.
Hello, my lady. Are you in need of assistance of some kind?
And he went, I'm cool with her. Just by watching her climb a shrub. I don't know if that was a tree.
The devil are you two doing?
Take the night off, Reynolds. The King's at Buckingham House.
His Majesty is back here, now.
Go. Oh, his coat's not on. And he's distraught. Still could have thought there was a better way to handle it.
Perhaps is she dull?
She is terrifyingly clever. That is the problem. If she were ugly, if she were dull, I might feel myself up to the task. Instead, her brilliance shows the troll I am.
Will your Majesty not be returning to Buckingham House?
I have done as they asked. I married. Now I shall leave her alone, safe from me.
There was more to it than that. He didn't have to be so charming to her then if he just wanted to be married in name only.
We are going to see my husband.
The Queen is coming.
What? Why was I not informed?
No one was informed, Your Majesty. She just...
You're being informed now.
I'm completely alone, and you prefer the sky to me.
And we still haven't learned yet why Charlotte. Why Charlotte?
Most impressive scientific collection.
There are a few advantages to being a monarch. One of them is you get the best stuff. It can be years before the public learns of the newest discoveries, and for good reason. Say a doctor is brought in to treat a king. Of course he could not risk failure, or God forbid, harming his sovereign, so he would employ only his safest, his most proven treatments, keeping the cutting edge of his methods to himself. Surely there must be something that you can do, something to end the fits forever.
That don't include a lobotomy of some sort, because I think their methods here were still a bit rudimentary.
Full access to your Majesty at any time, and license to pursue more extreme measures.
Anything.
You are used to the obedience of others.
Yeah, slap him again?
You have not learned to obey. We require solitude. You are dismissed.
Is he gonna cut him? I always get anxious with blades to a throat.
You have never known the salubrious powers of Spartan habits.
And who has this doctor tested these treatments on?
Your mind ranges undisciplined.
This might have been something that could have been done in the weeks leading up to the wedding. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Oh,
That
no.
is the origin of your fits.
Oh, no.
This is the cure. If you cannot govern yourself, you're not fit to govern others. Until then, I shall govern you. Do you understand me, boy? In here, you are just another animal in a cage. And just like an animal, I will break you!
Doctor! Doctor!
Bloodletting does not work.
We have been at this for days.
Days.
How much longer?
As long as it takes to achieve our goal, that was our agreement.
And who determines that?
The wolves of the German Black Forest were famous. They ran off with children, the old. Where are those wolves now?
Is this where the Pomeranian came from?
Through science and force of will, the Germans transformed their wolves into this thing.
A Pomeranian. This is terrible. Yeah, and then meanwhile, Charlotte was kept in the absolute dark. Well, of course, they're not going to want her to know about this. However, he could have spun it. He could have said, I know we're strangers, let me woo you, and just sent her love letters of such. So just keep in contact and say, let's go back in time. Let's start a relationship slowly, because I know we weren't afforded the beginning of getting to know each other. But that's not what they did.
It is a prodigious quantity of ice they keep carting around here.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, where did they get all that ice?
With respect, Your Majesty is His Majesty. His Majesty can do as he pleases. His Majesty could be with her right now.
I can't take the risk, especially with a woman so unpredictable. So,
I think Charlotte's quite predictable.
well, she's almost as mad as I am.
Mm-hmm. So she should be quite predictable to you.
A woman like that is too dangerous for a man like me.
Or maybe a perfect match.
What do you think?
I think we cannot know until His Majesty spends more time with her.
Ready the carriage, Reynolds. We're going to Buckingham House.
That is so sad. Oh my God. Can't she order like Brimsley to play with her or something?
She's playing chess with herself.
Because she left her alone in a strange land.
She is lonely, Your Majesty.
Lonely.
Your Majesty might provide the Queen a gesture.
What hours does the doctor keep in his laboratory?
Does Your Majesty require his attention?
On the contrary.
And what does the doctor keep the Pomeranian there for?
Fitting present, no?
Why does he keep a Pomeranian? What experiments is he doing on this puppy?
Is Your Majesty quite confident in his security? In these sad days, there are so many enemies of the crown, one would hate to think a spy had penetrated Your Majesty's circle.
And this doctor didn't hear word that the Queen has a new dog. Now we know he's not going to kill the king, but he can still cut him.
If an animal tires of its cage, do you agree, Doctor?
But you asked him to. You asked him to. You said do everything.
The Dowager Princess has asked me to convey a message to Your Majesty.
Message. Does that say consummate?
I will have an ice bath prepared immediately and then straight to the chair.
For what?
The Queen has received your gesture.
And what did she think of it? Go on.
She called it a deformed bunny.
You know what? No ice bath. No chair today.
Boy, I command you to stay.
Sorry, Doctor. Today I would rather work on my farm.
He is still the king after all. Well, I think the doctor kind of like Pushing the king around a smidge.
The most skittish creature in the barn can be the stoutest in the field. We cannot know until they have a chance to try.
Chance to try.
Mm-hmm.
I say this work has made me hungry. I think I shall dine with my wife.
How much can you grow on that little square of land you plowed? Who are you trying to feed? A house of one? With 2 crops?
He has realized the error of his ways. His heart is opened like a flower. His loins throb only for Her Majesty. We could work together. I could be useful. I am a patriot. I serve the crown.
Oh, that's a way to phrase it. That is very true.
Climbing, Brimsley.
I am not.
He is mine. Stay down.
He is yours, but she is his. Mm-hmm. Breathe. Just breathe. Just their eyes shift. I'm glad he didn't smack him like the doctor did.
There's good colour on this wine, Reynolds.
I shall let the kitchen know, Your Majesty.
Why did he sit so early? They must know what time she comes down.
Is it all right if I join you for a meal this evening?
A meal. A meal?
Charlotte,
He still kind of deserved it.
allow me to show you where my mind has been. It might not make you forgive me, but it might make you hate me a little bit less.
Still wasn't the truth, though, what he told her. Where was the doctor this whole time?
Not now, Doctor. I'm busy moving.
Moving?
To Buckingham House.
Without consulting me?
I have instructed the men to find you quarters there, though I am afraid our consultations may become rather less frequent. Alas.
But such a change could have disastrous consequences for your health.
But he has to change.
I feel healthier than I have in years.
But he has to change. I should say he doesn't have to change, but he has to learn to engage. But we skipped the part of where she gives him the cold shoulder.
Sorry, we cannot better accommodate you.
I worry about the effects of the cellar's humidity on Your Majesty's constitution.
Humanity's got jack squat to do with anything.
If we do not resume treatment soon, we risk losing everything we have accomplished.
You and I, Doctor, have accomplished nothing. Anything accomplished for me has been the work of my bride. Her methods have done more for me than you and your chair ever could.
Your Majesty forgets himself.
Uh-huh.
You give free rein to your most capricious urges.
So does she. When I was a boy, refusal to eat my peas was the potential ruin of England. An incorrect sum at mathematics, the potential ruin of England. Because every incorrect action threatened the ruin of England. But terror nearly broke me.
I think it kind of did.
My madness. I thought that terror was the price of being royal. Now, I have met a woman who is never terrified. Breaks rules, courts, scandal. And she is the most royal person I've ever known. Excuse me, Doctor. I have a party to attend.
Ooh, this is the night of the Danbury party.
You were dismissed.
Dismissed. Dismissed. As in dismissed forever.
You can do anything, George.
With you by my side, I think I can.
Oh, he got lax. And not vigilant in his efforts. And that vigilance must be exhausting. What's the doctor doing?
Perhaps I failed to speak clearly before. You will never treat me again. You are no longer my doctor.
Oh, no.
Nevertheless, I remain the Queen's. I'm preparing this poultice for her now.
For what purpose?
Your Majesty, she came to me, heard that the King's doctor was here, and apparently figured that she should not settle for anything less than doctor to the King.
Oh.
But why would she need a doctor?
Well, because obviously She is with child. Congratulations, Your Majesty. A joyous day for England.
Oh, and he took that news from her. That is not a good doctor. He didn't seem to have gotten that dirty. Oh, he is alone. Did she leave? She left. But aren't they at her house?
Ah, Charlotte. The Danbury ball was a trial.
Has your Highness ever tried cutting English mutton with a dull knife? The knives at Buckingham House used to be sharp enough. Then, one day, they were all dull.
Oh.
It happened to be the day the King joined me there.
Oh.
And suddenly locks everywhere. Locks on the armoury. A coincidence, surely. What I could not quite convince myself was a coincidence, though, was when the library set of Shakespeare was suddenly missing King Lear. The one about the mad king, because the king is mad and I live in a mad house. All this time I thought I was the damaged one. That somehow I was deficient when he...
The king is not mad.
You can't say that to his mother.
Merely exhausted from holding the greatest nation in the world on his shoulders. The weight on his mother as she watches her son start to crack. You would do anything to stop the cracking. You would engage hideous doctors and 1,000 disgusting treatments. You would scour Europe for a queen grateful enough to aid him. And yes,
oh,
you would leave the rough edges of his nature for his bride to discover in due course. You were nothing. You came from nowhere.
Oh.
I did not ask to sit at the helm of the world. I did not even ask for a husband. But if I must have one, if I must leave my home, it cannot be for a man I do not know. A man I was not allowed to know. For a lie. No.
So they thought she would be grateful for her position. And he goes back to the doctor.
Strap me back in.
Don't you smirk, mother trucker. So has my opinion of George changed? Not that much. Okay, yes, he's not gonna want his bride to know any of this. Completely understandable. But you would hope somebody at some point would say, okay, here's the situation you're in. Here you have a queen that you have discovered is quite smart, quite brilliant, a little bit unconventional. She's not gonna be readily to accept just being left on her own with nothing, no communication whatsoever. You want to go through these heinous treatments to become the husband you think she deserves. You gotta communicate somehow. So I still think George and his groupage around him didn't quite handle the situation as well as they could. But it also brings sharp attention to just how far, or I guess I should say, just how long mental illness went untreated. One, because it's highly misunderstood. It suggests that you are other. What tools did they have at this time to delve further into the workings of the mind? And if I remember, what we know now is because tests that were done to discover were heinous in nature to start with. So they were dealing with what they had at the time. Also, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. I have mental illness in my family that we've dealt with, and it's exhausting being on either side of it, the vigilance, the techniques. And here they had no coping skills whatsoever, no medication skills whatsoever. And I think you have this doctor who kind of, I think, feels a little high and mighty, being able to treat the King of England in such a way. How much is he feeding it for science, and how much is he doing for maybe his own little sadistic pleasure? It creates a cauldron of just, what the fuckery. What the fuck? So again, am I sympathetic to George and his plight? Yes. But did I think his relationship with Charlotte he handled poorly? Still, yes. Of course he did. Of course he did. My opinion, he handled his relationship with Charlotte poorly. So as we've seen, she gets on board with it somehow. She's having the next heir. What else will come up? What else is going to come up? We have 2 more episodes. And what else comes up? And so am I correct in thinking she was selected because she, without knowing her and her personality, on paper, she looked as if she was noble enough to be queen, but from a small enough root, I guess you'd say, that she would be grateful just to be queen and be quiet and docile and follow along with whatever she was told. Is that why she was selected? And maybe it's happy fortunate that she wasn't that way. And she could be a true partner to George. Is that what's going to happen? Is that where we're going? I don't know about y'all, but I'm exhausted. That left me exhausted, but with lots to think about. Yeah, but there we go. There we go. Ta-da! Episode 4 of Queen Charlotte Down. Thank you. Thank you so much for being with me on this adventure. I do appreciate so much, especially if you've hit liked and subscribed. I appreciate all the things you do to help the channel out. And please, take care of yourselves. Stretch your body. If you are experiencing any sort of things that you might have recognized, please seek the treatment. You help the trusted people in your circle, whatever resources you can, because you are not alone. You're not alone. So do what you can to take care of yourselves, and then you're going to come back and not necessarily watch the video on the queue. Just come back and spend time with me, because I would like to see you then. So thanks again, you all, and until next time.